Every day, you essentially pay your dues by doing the harder thing when it's the right thing to do.
I still had that internal feeling as if I came into practice and my back, my knee, or my ankle or something was hurting, or if I was even like had a cold and I was sick, I felt like I was doing something wrong and he was going to be disappointed in me because he's my coach and he wants me to come in and be my best self every day and train and get better. But as I've grown as a person and as an athlete, I realized that I was only hurting myself by creating all of those scenarios in my head when really when you're working with a coach or with a team, everyone wants each other to be able to come into the gym every day and be their best selves, but also feel their best. And if that means taking a step back, you kind of have to focus on the bigger picture and the long-term plan. And that's something that at Florida we talked about a lot, is not focusing on like, oh, well, if I don't do this routine this one day, we're not going to win a national championship. Like that's too far out. You got to focus on day by day, focus on the process. Don't focus on the outcome. And if it means to do less numbers one day or to not even do anything on a day, but that's going to set you up for success to be able to win the next day in that short term, that's what's so important. So I think just trying to recondition your brain in a way to know what's a real thought and what's kind of like this crazy thing that you've made up in your head is something that I had to grow in a lot. And I know that's tough, but focusing on making sure that you're good every single day will get you to the long-term goal. What you're saying to yourself is huge. I can even like for I'd say freshman and sophomore year, the things I was saying to myself were like, oh, I hope I make this routine for my team. Instead of like, no, I'm ready for this and I know I'm going to make this routine because my team is counting on me and they trust me. Like things like that, your dialogue in your head is so powerful. And I'd say that's another big one of how I'm able to be the same every time, because it's not so much physical as it is mental. When you're already trained, ready, you're in the moment, you've prepared for months. What happens in that moment is really whatever your brain wants to happen, not what your body can control. Your body has like, you trained your body for those months. And in that moment, it's your head. I was actually working with some girls at a gymnastics camp on confidence and self-talk and things like that. And a way that I used to define like negative self-talk and just help them differentiate was like, if you wouldn't say it to your friend, then why are you saying it to yourself? You know, that it's a simple question. But then I actually like the next few days, I was saying some negative things to myself and thought about it. And I was like, I'm so hypocritical because I just told these girls, if you wouldn't say it to your friends, why are you saying it to yourself? But it's still hard, even if you're practicing these habits and trying to focus on the things that you're saying to yourself and how you're treating your body, your brain. It's something that you have to work on consistently to check in with yourself and make sure you're good. I was like gonna go work out this morning and then I didn't. Then of course I'm beating myself up because I didn't, but my body wanted sleep. So you have to listen to your body. I think too for gymnasts, it's really tough because we are trained to constantly be excellent and to be perfect in whatever we're doing, or at least to strive to be perfect. And in life, there's no way to be perfect. There's no right or wrong way to walk about your life. So I think having some grace with yourself in any situation, no matter if you're an athlete, just a student, or like wherever you are, if you're like a working professional, it's okay to take a step back and be like, I'm good. I'm okay. It's okay that I slept in or didn't do this or did that. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think a huge thing in NIL is being authentic. Don't commit to something that doesn't speak to you. If it doesn't align with your values, then it's probably not going to bring great things. The money is not worth it. I think that's a really good guiding point to take a step back. And when you talk about personal brand, for me, that's what I mean is what do you value and what's important to you? Because if you can, from the start, before you enter into any deals, take a few weeks or a month and say, make a list. These are the things that I value. This is what's important to me. Then those are your buckets. That's where you stay in those. And if it doesn't fit, you throw it out. That was a huge thing for me when it came to looking at contracts and working with brands. And even like, does it go trash? Do I respond? Do I work with them? Like, it's not worth your time because your time is so valuable. And then I think another thing is read things carefully. be very careful because, like, sadly, there are brands and individuals posing as brands who are looking to take advantage of young athletes, young individuals who were so busy, and you get this offer, you may miss something. So I think it's very important to be careful and to make sure you look over everything. Or if you're not sure, ask a friend or see if they know someone who can help you read through a contract, because it is so important that you know what you're signing yourself up for before you are stuck in something for 6 months, 12 months, whatever that be. I always felt like I wasn't good enough as such a young athlete. Like, I'm a kid.
Yeah.
I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I would never make it to college gymnastics or never make it to elite gymnastics, or I wasn't even capable of doing skills. And it got so draining, just the way that I was being coached and spoken to as if I was worthless, that all of those thoughts that I was creating in my head from the words I was receiving became true. Like, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy that I couldn't do my gymnastics and I wasn't good enough to make the meets that I wanted to make too, because I was like brainwashed in a way to believe that. Then I had a major coaching switch at 14 and then got in a really healthy coaching relationship and was able to start turning all of that around. But I think for parents and for athletes, it's so important to be able to check in with your kid or check in with yourself to make sure that the way that you are speaking to yourself and the way that you're being spoken to are uplifting. And it's such a fine line, because in gymnastics, you have to be tough and you need to work and you got to be ready to work. And sometimes your coach has to say something that you don't want to hear. And that's fine. That's not bad. But if they're saying things that take away from your identity as a human being, that's crossing a line. And I experienced that. And it took me so long to rebuild that. So I think from a club perspective, it's really important to check in on those things and make sure you're good. And I had to build all the way back from zero, like probably beneath zero. I was in the negatives. I was below the floor when I had no gymnastics. I like felt worthless, and then ended up building it back and making it to the national team, going to Florida and overcoming all of those things. But I think I still can get in a mindset where I think I'm not good enough, or that I don't deserve to be on a team or be in a lineup spot because of that experience that I had where I was spoken to and I was speaking to myself so negatively and in a way that I truly believed back then. So I don't know if there's like any piece of advice in a one sentence, but
I'm so happy that you mentioned it, because you being in a sharing mood probably just helped thousands of people.